In a frozen, forgotten corner of the far north, there is a heavy metal cap, bolted shut and rusting into the ground. It looks like nothing, just a slab of iron in the snow, but beneath it lies a hole so deep it took 20 years to dig, plunging straight down, deeper into the earth than any human has ever reached. This is the deepest hole ever made, and what they found at the bottom, no one expected. Decades ago, while the world watched rockets climb toward the moon, a different race was quietly beginning. Not a race upward into space, but downward into the Earth itself. For all of our history, we had walked upon the ground without ever truly seeing what lay beneath it. So a team of scientists asked a simple, daring question. How deep could we go? How far down could we drill before the planet stopped us? On a remote, windswept peninsula near the top of the world, the work began. The plan was breathtaking, to drill straight down through miles of solid rock, deeper than anyone had ever dared. Not to find oil, not to find treasure, but simply to reach the unknown and to learn what the crust of our world was truly made of. For the first time, we would touch the deep. Reaching the deep was not as simple as digging. They built a towering rig and a drill that could spin far below while they waited, patiently, at the surface. Every few years they pushed the hole a little deeper, through layer after layer of ancient stone. Down there, in total darkness, the drill carved a wound into the planet barely as wide as a dinner plate. A tiny, impossibly deep needle pushed into the skin of the Earth. Kilometer by kilometer, the hole grew deeper. Soon it passed every record ever set. The drill was now traveling through rock that had not seen the surface in billions of years, stone older than almost anything you could imagine. With every meter, the team edged into a place no one and nothing had ever been. And the deeper they went, the stranger it became. The scientists thought they knew what they would find. Their maps predicted the rock would change at a certain depth, solid, layered, and predictable. But the Earth had other ideas. Instead of the smooth boundary they expected, the drill entered a zone of shattered, broken rock, cracked and riddled with fractures. Everything they thought they understood about the deep crust was wrong, and the surprises were only beginning. Then came something that should have been impossible. Miles down, far deeper than any rain could ever reach, they found water. Not pools or rivers, but water squeezed from the very crystals of the rock itself, forced out by unimaginable pressure. It had been locked inside the stone for billions of years, sealed away from the world. A hidden ocean, trapped in solid rock, waiting in the dark. Deeper still, around 6 kilometers down, the drill pulled up something even more astonishing. Tiny fossils. The microscopic remains of ancient life, so small you would need a lens to see them, and so old they defied belief. These delicate traces were around 2 billion years old, preserved in stone far below the reach of sunlight. Life, it seemed, had left its mark even here, in a place we thought held nothing at all. The strangeness did not stop. As the drill churned deeper, the mud pumped up from below began to do something eerie. It boiled and bubbled with hydrogen gas, hissing up from the depths as if the rock itself were alive and breathing. The deep crust was not the silent, solid place they had imagined. It was restless, full of secrets, and it was about to fight back. The further they drilled, the hotter it became. The scientists had expected warmth, but nothing like this. At these depths, the temperature climbed far beyond their predictions, higher and higher with every kilometer. The rock around the drill was no longer cool and firm. It was growing soft and dangerous. The Earth was beginning to defend itself. And yet, they pressed on. Until, after nearly 2 decades of work, the hole reached an astonishing depth, more than 12 kilometers straight down. It became the deepest point human hands have ever reached inside our planet. A single, slender wound, plunging further into the earth than the tallest mountains rise above it. No one had ever been so deep, and no one has ever gone deeper since. But at 12 kilometers, the earth finally said no. The heat had become ferocious, far greater than anyone had planned for. Down there, the rock no longer behaved like stone at all. Under the crushing heat and pressure, it turned soft, almost like warm plastic. The moment the drill pulled back, the hole began to close itself, squeezing shut like a wound. The deeper they reached, the harder the planet pushed back. In the end, it was simply too much. The temperature at the bottom had climbed to nearly twice what they expected, hot enough to make further drilling almost impossible. The equipment failed again and again in the searing depths. And as the years passed, the funding ran out, and the world around the project changed. The great descent was over. The Earth had won. And here is the most humbling part of all. After 20 years of effort, after reaching deeper than anyone in history, they had barely scratched the surface. 12 kilometers sounds enormous, but compared to the vast distance to the center of the Earth, it is almost nothing. A pinprick, a fraction of the way through the crust alone. We had reached the very limit of our power, and still, the deep had barely begun. It was around this time that a strange story began to spread. Whispers that the scientists had drilled too far. That deep in the hole, their instruments had picked up sounds, faint, distant cries, echoing up from below. People began to call it the well to hell, claiming the drill had broken through into something it was never meant to find. The story raced around the world, but was there any truth to it at all? No. The eerie tale was a hoax, a frightening story stitched together and passed from person to person until it felt real. There were no cries from below, no hidden doorway in the rock. But here is the strange thing. The truth of what they truly found down there, ancient, trapped water, 2 billion-year-old traces of life, rock that breathed hydrogen and flowed like putty, was far stranger than any legend. Today, the great project sits silent and abandoned. The towering rig is gone, the buildings stand empty, their windows shattered, slowly surrendering to the cold. And the hole itself, the deepest ever made, has been sealed, welded shut beneath that heavy, rusting metal cap, half buried in the snow. The doorway to the deep, closed, perhaps forever. The great hole never reached its dream. It never touched the boundary the scientists were chasing. But it taught us something far more important, how little we truly know about the world beneath our feet. We have sent machines to distant planets and landed on the moon, yet the ground you are standing on right now remains in many ways a greater mystery than the stars. The deep still keeps its secrets. So the next time you stand on solid ground, take a moment to remember. Beneath your feet lies a world we have barely glimpsed. Miles upon miles of ancient rock, hidden water and rising heat stretching down into darkness. Once we tried to reach it. We drilled for 20 years, deeper than anyone ever had, and the earth quietly closed the door. The deepest place we have ever touched is still almost nothing at all, and the rest is still waiting.